Where's Brooklyn at?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It is great to be here with all of you. It's a little later in the day, 5:40 p.m. here on the East Coast. It is the 13th of January in 2021. A lot's happened in the last hour, I'd say, in all elements. So we're going to focus here on sports because I know that's the big story. At the moment, yes, don't worry. We have not forgotten about the Broad Street Bullies. I have in the background the Flyers. Don't anybody worry. We hope you're watching us as well in the background. As Gavin is saying, Backpage News. Of course, there's a lot of other things going on. We have breaking news. And the other day we had the Doug Peterson special. Today, the James Harden special. A lot has happened in the last 3 hours. This morning, James Harden was told, do not come back to the Rockets facility. We will be trading you. I was confident an hour ago that he would be coming to Philly. I tweeted that while I don't love the decision, I would accept James Harden if he was traded as the Philly fan that I am. But again, the inevitable has happened. James Harden out of the Rockets, but to another Eastern Conference team, the Brooklyn Nets, pairing up with Kyrie Irving if he decides to show up again. I'm going to speak on that in a little bit because we do have some things to discuss on it, and we have to make sure we cover both perspectives. And, of course, Kevin Durant, who Gavin said before the season was his MVP pick, and dang it, he does look like one right now. You traded Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. I don't like this trade for anybody. I really don't. I didn't like the Philly trade either. I mean, Karis LeVert, easily 15 off the bench every night. Jared Allen, your future center, your entire future. Like, I get it. You're going to try to win now. First-round picks don't mean that much, as Stephen A. said when Kwame Brown was traded for Pau Gasol back in the day to the Lakers. First-round picks don't mean much. You're right when you're a contender. Although for Tyrese Maxey, that's a different story.
I wouldn't have did that.
The Rockets tested their limits with the Sixers. They did not get what they wanted. Honestly, there was more value for the Sixers, honestly. If you're the Rockets, I don't care. I want to build around the current squad. I'm not worried about Brooklyn. If anything, I'm worried about Milwaukee, and that's not even that worrisome. All right, nobody is worried about Brooklyn. What is there to be worried about? They had to come from behind against Denver last night. Kyrie Irving is in another world. Is that planet flat too? I don't know. But look, you have a couple things going on. Of course, look, I'll cover the personal side of Kyrie Irving in a few minutes because, of course, covering the WNBA salaries last year, all the things he's done off the court. It's possible to be a good – I read on Twitter, it's possible to be a good person and a bad employee. They don't go together. And I'm gonna hold to that. That's my ground. We'll get to that in a minute. But assuming he comes back and drama gets set aside, which I don't think is going to, as I called before the season, the Nets looked really good with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And now they got James Harden. However, they went from the best bench in the league to falling off pretty quickly. Gavin, some first take. First of all, before we get to that, yes, everybody, there's no special filter on Gavin. Amazing in the brand new cut. He got the fade on the sides, got the sides flipped up, kept the beard. I'm vibing with it. Big props to you for it. We love the haircut. Of course, I'm overdue for one as well. This is considered long for me, but obviously a conversation for a different time. Gavin, what's some of your takes?
Well, no, we can have that conversation real quick, Zach. First of all, I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I looked a little bit too old to be on this show. Appreciate it, Philly Insider. And Zach, let's keep it long. Get the nice little fair on the sides. Shout out to my guy Rome. If you're in the area, shout out to Rome. He got me right, Zach, right before the show. Zach, let's talk about this real quick. The Brooklyn Nets and we were talking about this, right? We were talking about this. I was on my way to get my haircut. Zach, I had to stop by GameStop. I had to make sure everything's set for the new gaming adventure that I'm doing. And then all of a sudden, you sent me a text message saying James Harden is going to Brooklyn. And I thought you were joking with me. It's like, I thought you were just playing around. Now, after a while, I get annoyed with Woj because he tweets too much about nothing sometimes. And so does a lot of people. So I turned my Twitter off, all right, for a little bit, Zach. So I go sit in a barbershop and they put SportsCenter. I said, I'll be damned. They really did it. So now I opened your message and I opened Twitter. I was like, they really did that. Zach, you talk about this being a not a great trade for everybody. Zach, I disagree with you. It's a great trade for two teams. Two teams. If you're Houston and if you're Brooklyn. Now, am I a fan of them getting rid of Karis LeVert and Jared Allen? No, I am not. All right, you know how fond I am of Jared Allen, Zach, and you know how, and I was a big advocate of Karis LeVert too. But think about it. You didn't give a Dinwiddie because he tore his ACL. Kyrie Irving, which we're going to get into that because I have a lot to say about that. Zach. I have a lot. All right, I'm not happy, but when it comes to that, think about it. You got rid of Jared Allen and I think Prince and Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert goes to Indiana, and you get a guy.
Oladipo goes to Houston in that trade.
And you get Dante Exum and a lot of picks. First of all, Zach, let's talk about Houston real quick. They got set up nicely. You got a guy in James Harden who pissed everybody off. They got rid of him. You get a guy in Victor Oladipo who's a nice addition. Zach, he was an all-star 2 years ago before he had the horrendous leg injury. And then let's talk about Brooklyn. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were not here when the show started, I said, where's Brooklyn at? All right? When I think of Brooklyn, I think of Biggie, I think of Pop. Then you get into the sports realm. Then you got the Nets. All right, I know I missed a lot of things right there, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to get my point out quickly. I want to get back to Zach. Zach, they're in win now mode, and you know what the crazy thing too, Zach? They can win back to back. James Harden said for 2 years. Now, all depends on what Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie Irving's moody as a teenager. One day we're happy, one day we're sad, one day we're depressed. We don't know. So it all depends on him. But Zach, if they can get this working, and I believe they can, talk about how good the Brooklyn Nets will be and how dangerous they can be. And if you're a Sixers fan, Sixers fan, a Bucks fan, a Heat fan, you're like, oh my God, we lost today. Today is the day the Eastern Conference is ruined. Well, I don't want to say ruined, but the Eastern Conference has a new look. And if you're a New York Knicks, Zach, because yes, I got to mention the Knicks fans.
Wait, tonight they struck out. They have struck out on so many levels the last 3 seasons. If you're the Knicks, for a week or two. I mean, look, a couple years ago for the Knicks, and they played tonight against Brooklyn. They obviously struck out on the first overall pick, and that kind of led to everything else falling into place. Kevin Durant recruited Kyrie Irving, so let's talk about that for a minute. And I said before the season, do I see the Nets as a legitimate threat? On paper, phenomenal. In 2K, of course, great. But here's the bottom line. Here's what matters. You're going to have ego issues. You're going to have locker room issues. And then that, real quick, I stopped talking about that because the first few games, they looked spectacular. Against the Warriors, they looked dominant. They looked like they really fit. Kyrie Irving racking up the assists, doing his part. Kevin Durant, you can't even tell he had a ruptured Achilles going into this season. I mean, he looks great. And then you have Jared Allen. You have that bench. It's a great combination. Steve Nash in the 7 seconds or less. It's a great system. And then you add James Harden to that. You lose some of your bench guys, but in the playoffs, let's be honest, you don't go that deep into your bench. You go 2-3 guys deep. You're going to be talking about DeAndre Jordan and maybe, I don't know who else is on their bench right now, but you have a few other guys that you can touch. I don't know right now how legitimate I can take the Nets because the drama has already started. And the irony indeed that the same time the drama's stirring up, you go out and you get yourself a top 5 player in the league. Right now, he's not playing like it, but let's be real here. When James Harden gets to Brooklyn, he's going to be fine. He'll start getting back to his productive numbers. I knew that if he was to come to Philly. We'll get to issues in Houston in a second, but let's talk about Kyrie Irving. Yes,
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Zach, you shot at 89 today? I just saw that. I had to ask you that, but all right, go back.
I did, yeah. I did. We'll cover that sometime. I got some video footage of it, but yeah, no, look, in all seriousness, with Kyrie Irving, of course, mental health side, I'm not going to mess around with that. But from the NBA side, you're getting paid millions of dollars, man. This isn't, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You should be able to see this. Cleveland got fooled, got rid of him. I don't even know what they got in return for him.
Yeah, I said he was good.
Boston got played by him. And now he's in Brooklyn, and we're shocked that the same things are happening. I mean, I'm not sure what the personal reasons are. It could be a family death. It could be, something else like that. However, if you're called to the party without a mask on, it doesn't have a strong look for you. We don't know the date of that party, but this isn't I can't give Kyrie Irving the benefit of the doubt today because of the fact that this is not the first time that it's happened. You had your own team in Boston with two other superstars growing. All right. Your team went to the Eastern Conference Finals when you were hurt and you couldn't even get past Milwaukee, given they were a good team, but Toronto took care of them in 6 pretty easily. Okay. And now you go last year, you have trouble getting along with your teammates. You don't even go to the bubble with your team. Granted, you were working on a couple of other social justice things. But then you take a look at this year, right, where everything's starting to work. You get the coach you want. And now what's the situation? Now what are you looking at? The same story. We saw it with Cleveland. We saw it with Boston. We're seeing it with Brooklyn. And I guarantee you that Kyrie Irving is not – I'm not going to say I guarantee it, but there's a strong chance that this trade means that Kyrie Irving is not going to be here to stay.
I'm going to go say. Now, Zach, you know me. Kyrie Irving is arguably my second favorite point guard, not player. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have different lists when it comes to that, Zach. So, all right, he's kind of in top 5 of my favorite players out all positions. Second favorite point guard. All right. Zach, what's the definition of personal reasons? And like,
it's too broad. It's too broad of a reason. And Steve Nash didn't know why either. I think that's an issue, the transparency, but continue.
Okay, so personal reasons is one thing. All right, I think of this as 2 ways. I'm going to tell you the first way right now. Personal reasons is one thing. That's fine. Kyrie Irving, the person, he's a phenomenal guy. Zach, you know how I feel about the media making him be some monster. I don't believe in that. I don't. I really don't. Zach, he funded the whole WNBA players' salaries. That's nice. All right. He has his hands all over the social justice movement. That's nice. That's good. All right, he's doing some other things well around the community. Zach, I can't, and he put his money in the charity here and there. All right, we're not talking about Kyrie Irving, the person. We're talking about Kyrie Irving, the player. Zach, you sat out last year, not you, but Kyrie Irving, you sat out last year with a shoulder problem, right? Zach, I don't know how severity of the shoulder injury was. I kind of view it as one of those things where, you know what, Zach, they're like, there's no KD. We're not going to win this year. We'll just save you for next year. You can shelf it. You can just stay home. But this year, everything was looking good. Zach, you had me singing. I was over here singing, oh, man, Brooklyn and Sixers is going to be a problem. And then you pull this stuff. Kevin Durant goes out. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. Personal reasons, Zach. If I would have there was something going on in the behind the scenes on my end, and I had to miss a couple shows because of personal reasons. It's one thing to miss the shows, and Kyrie, it's one thing to miss the games, but you're being public about it. You were on a call for I think it was with Manhattan. I don't know too much into it, and then you were seen at a family party with no mask on. Now, I wouldn't say it's a big deal, but Zach, you know your company is having rules right now, and the time we live in. Just so that's the reason why it's a problem. But Zach, if this was any other time, it wouldn't be a problem. The thing is basketball is not on this man's number one priority. It's not. Now, the other way how I view this is this. Maybe this was just a plan to say, you know what, Kyrie, why don't you pull this personal business or personal stuff so we can get this James Harden trade to go through. James Harden, you're going to say something really blasphemous, and then you get this James Harden trade to go through where, one, we can't trade you because we don't know when you're coming back. Think about it. Zach, remember Kyrie Irving was a name being thrown around in that deal, him, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Karis LeVert. Dinwiddie's out with the ACL. All right, Kyrie Irving's playing I don't want to play basketball right now, which I think he comes back next week or whenever the league is done with his punishment. And then, Zach, to top that off, you get James Harden. All right. James Harden's obviously he's going to want his shots. Kevin Durant's obviously the man here. James Harden's going to be the second fiddle. And Kyrie Irving's the third fiddle. But guess what, Zach? This is nothing new to Kyrie Irving being the second fiddle, the third fiddle. Zach, this wasn't his team in the first place. This is Kevin Durant calls the shots in Brooklyn, Zach. He does. The man that's 7 foot calls the shots, and if that's the case, Zach, that was arguably the best move in sports history. I call LeBron a GM because when you miss a shot, he trades you away in 24 hours. Zach, Kevin Durant might be getting that logo too. Whatever the fact of the matter is, Kyrie, if it's mentally, I get it. Zach, mental health is nothing to joke with. All right, if that's serious, If it's you not wanting to play basketball no more, let's motivate you to play basketball again. But Stephen A. Smith said this man should retire. I don't believe in that. I think the problem is, Zach, too, and I'm going to throw this out here and I'm going to let you go, is Kyrie Irving loved Kobe Bryant a lot. When the tragedy happened, Kyrie and was heartbroken. Do you think he's struggling with the game of basketball right now? Maybe because of that? It is that time of year is sadly coming up again, Zach.
Look, I've read into that. I know last year reading about it, it was obviously a tragedy in the NBA community, especially for guys who had worked one-on-one. You think Jason Tatum, Kyrie, Kawhi Leonard, a lot of guys who have been impacted. But look, it's bold. I think it's a possibility, but I find it unlikely. What you suggested as a possibility, as a plan to acquire. Was that?
So say it again. Which I didn't hear you.
For the element of possibly having Kyrie leave for a few days on purpose and find a way to keep him out of the trade and find a way to make a move for James Harden. It's not impossible. I hadn't thought about that. It's something I would have to think about because that's bold. But the more realistic situation is the guy does not want to play basketball right now. And for the reasons you may have named with the mental health, of course, that's something that has to be evaluated. But he's not doing his job. And that's where my concerns are going to come in until we know more information. Until we know more, all we can do in the media is speculate. And my speculation is that he's either doing something mentally or he just doesn't want to play the game. This isn't the first time it happened. I said it before. It happened in Cleveland and it happened in Boston. Look what happens last year when Kyrie leaves. They flourished. They felt like they fit more. Kemba was able to come in there and connect with those guys. Cleveland still went to the finals the following year after Kyrie left. Kyrie and Kevin Love are hurt. They lose in the finals. The next year they come back from 3-1. They win. The year after that, they lose in 5 or 6 games, I think, after Kevin Durant comes there. Kyrie's like, all right, I'm done. I'm gone. Like, all right, bye. This is why you're not a franchise leading guy. This is why you're not the guy in a franchise because you don't do that. Kevin Durant, it's one of the most criticized decisions all the time. They lose 3-1 one year after going to the finals. All right, I'm done. I'm going to go join Golden State now. Get my rings. It's a smart business decision. But that's going to be scrutinized for all of history. And now Kyrie Irving, what? You guys – Kevin Durant's out with COVID protocol for 3 days. You can't put the team on your back for that time. I mean, there's something bigger that's going on here. But until we know what it is, all we can do is sit here and speculate.
I'm going to give Kyrie Irving the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know how you can after what he did to 2 teams, 2 cities.
First of all, Zach, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. On this one right here. This one in Cleveland, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. This one, the reason I just named, maybe this was a plan for him to sit out for a little bit. Maybe you don't know. Maybe he was stressed out playing the game. You don't know that. And maybe they said, well, you know what? We're going to take this opportunity to go get James Harden now because we don't know when you're coming back.
That's what I think. That's why I think the conversation Joy picked up because they wanted to get someone else in case Kyrie is unable to return.
Or if it's going to take a little bit because the party. I don't think Brooklyn knew about the party. All right, There's so many moving pieces, but yes, continue. I do believe that Brooklyn knew about him. Maybe wanted to take a little bit of a break. I guess they deemed it as cool. I mean, no KD, I guess no Kyrie. But then I believe maybe Brooklyn would have been like, well, you know what? Wait a minute, just relax a little bit. We're going to see if we can pull something off. And then that video at his the family party with no mask on. Why would a team trade for you and they know you can't play for Lord knows how long? Zach,
there's more risk involved in that.
And here's where I gave him the benefit of doubt in Cleveland. You just hit the best shot, arguably, I've ever seen over my favorite player. My second favorite hit the shot over my favorite. It's the worst thing ever happened in my life because I don't know how to feel. But Zach, you hit this shot and you barely get any recognition for it. Everybody talks about the block. When you think about 3-1, who do you think? Who's the first thing that comes to your mind?
LeBron James.
All right then. And then who comes?
You're right. What was it? Game 5 in Golden State when they both had 41 points combined for 82. You're right. It was a Batman and Robin situation. He got his own team though. How did it work out?
This is why I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt right here.
In Boston, right here.
Boston, I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt because that team should have worked because They went further without you your first year. Your first year with Gordon Hayward tragically goes down. Then you go 16 games, and then you go down with a. It's the same thing every year with Kyrie with the knees, man. You gotta get them taken care of.
I mean, just guys who drive like that kind of handles, they take the impact down there.
And then you go, and then you come back, and then everything doesn't seem fun. Jason Tatum's not having fun. Scary Terry's mad and leaves. So yes, Boston should have worked. Zach, I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt. I give it to him here, and I give it to him in Cleveland. That's it. Now,
we have to. Yeah.
Now, if this continues to go on, then let's revisit that.
For the time being, the Nets are easily the favorite in the Eastern Conference after acquiring James Harden from Houston. But I do have to cover a few things here. Anthony Davis 2 years ago, in and out of New Orleans lineup, was never kicked out of the facility or told do not come back until you're traded. What are some other key? I mean, Kyrie Irving with Cleveland, even he never had those issues where he was kicked out of the facility or with the disrespect.
He did that in the summertime, Zach. Remember that.
Of course, but during the season, James Harden, new coach, don't give him a chance. Go out and get some guys for you. Disrespectful from day one. Is DeMarcus Cousins an angel? No. But that doesn't mean he can't be right on this situation.
I believe what he said.
He said, the disrespect and as a teammate. I mean, there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. Ultimately, at the end of the day, requesting a trade from a team that can make the playoffs is a backstabbing thing no matter what, but there's a less painful way to do it. And I believe that was done with Anthony Davis. Again, there was drama in New Orleans, but the head coach didn't say, AD, do not come back until we trade you. The fact that they said that in Houston, he threw a ball at a rookie in practice a few weeks ago. That's worse than Michael Thomas fighting with their corner who gets in fights with everybody, which is probably going to happen this weekend as well. But are there means for concern, or will this all be settled once Harden is in Brooklyn?
Well, Zach, I believe it's going to die down because he got to where he wanted to be. Zach, we were one of the destinations, and Brooklyn was one of the destinations. He got what he asked for. But here's why I give credit to Anthony Davis. He still went out there and played. All right, they sat him down for the last, I want to say 5 games, maybe 5 to 4 games left in the season. They sat him down and said, all right, you know what? We're done here. Everybody's done. So they did tell him not to. They did tell him not to come back. Now, did they do it early? No, but they did.
They didn't tell him you physically do not see any teammates. Do not talk to the coach. Do not physically walk.
No, they didn't. No. They didn't do that. You're right.
This is a different level. This is a different level.
But it's like I from day one, I said, why would you want a troublemaker? And he's not going to be a trouble. He's going to be an angel. Well, that might be far-fetched, but he's
for at least a year, for at least the rest of the season.
For at least the rest of the season, he's going to be like a little angel. But Zach, it's going to go like this. When you see how this man acted, you don't give your new coach a chance. James, your coach is African American too. Give him a chance. You know, coaches, Zach, they're on, especially African American coaches, they're on a tight leash to begin with. And he's a first-time head coach, and he was an assistant coach for a long time. Give him a chance. John Wall, great role player, all-star. People forget about John Wall. DeMarcus Cousins is no scrub. Yes, Zach, the injuries for the past 3 or 4 years. All right, that's been hard.
Christian Wood as well, averaging 20 and 10.
Playing out of his mind. And you don't give him a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, my problem with James Harden will always be like this, and I'm gonna keep it consistent. You never gave your coach a chance because he wanted to take the ball out of your hands, and because your Lord Savior Daryl Morey left you, and Mike D'Antoni was out, and you knew Steven Silas was going to play more team basketball. You wanted no parts. You got to at least give your team a chance before you don't want parts. It's like, I'm just saying, it's like if me and you were on the team and I was the star player and they just brought you in, I got to give you a chance, Zach. I know your resume. I know what you used to do back in the white basketball, Zach. I knew that. I had to give you a chance. But you came in, you know the guys. DeMarcus Cousins was an all-star. John Wall was an all-star. Christian Wood's looking like most improved player of the year, maybe. Early candidate. And then, Zach, you don't even give your new head coach a chance. Unbelievable. I mean, good for them. They got Victor Oladipo at least. So they got somebody.
And they got a lot of first-round picks moving forward. Whether or not they're worth anything, we'll see. Tell. But yes, Mike D'Antoni is the quote-unquote offensive coordinator for the Nets, so I think that's going to be a good combination. Just before we go here, a few headlines. Flyers tied up 1-1 with about 3 minutes left in the first period, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, actually. The Eagles are expected to interview Robert Saleh tonight for a head coaching job. And then there also is some growing concern that both Chiefs assistants, with Eric Bieniemy and Mike Kafka, there's a possibility because of their potential for a deep playoff run. It could be hard for both of them to be getting head coaching jobs because it is considered tampering if you do communicate prior to the season ending. We'll cover that tomorrow when we do have a little more time. But another big thing that we want to talk, of course, the Sixers' big win last night over the Miami Heat. Joel Embiid continuing to look like an all-star. Ben Simmons fouling out early. Ironic, as once he fouls out, the team starts really going down. But Dakota Mathias, clutch three at the end. We're currently walking on eggshells until we get some of our guys back from the COVID reserve. But right now, the Sixers are holding down their own. Joel Embiid, number one on Bleacher Report's MVP list. Some great things to see today.
Well, Zach, real quick, if I can go over, if you're the Eagles and you know how successful the Chiefs have been, you wait for Eric, you wait for Mike. I don't care. All right, Zach, I don't know if you heard a report. Did you hear they wanted to give Joe Brady a chance? Zach, what was his offense this year? What did they do? They didn't do anything special.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not buying I understand LSU, great year.
That was 1 year. One.
You don't go from passing game coordinator, even on an SEC school, to head coach 2 years later. My picks right now are, and I spent about an hour today trying to memorize his name. Not Driscoll, but something similar to that. The Bills OC. I'm so sorry. And if they end up
Brian, it's Brian.
Brian, something Cole. I'm sorry. I do have to.
I got Brian. Yeah,
Mr. OC guy. They can't talk with him either, so that's going to be a concern. But Robert Saleh, they've spoken to. Lincoln Riley is leaning towards not being hired by the team, and a lot of reports are leaking out right now that it was the Carson Wentz over Jalen Hurts reasoning for Doug Peterson's termination. Possibly the Hurts gets traded this offseason. We don't know, but Gavin, any thoughts on the Sixers game last night? Of course, overtime win, big time win.
Well, Ben Simmons. Well, my thought is Ben. I defended you. You made me look like a jerk defending you. All right. I lost a lot of people trying to defend you. All right. I made a lot of enemies trying to defend you. Shoot! Do something. Be aggressive. And I'm just gonna wait for tomorrow on that. But Zach, Joel Embiid being ranked number one for MVP, it's a possibility. He has to keep it up. He has to stay healthy. Zach, I don't know. The Sixers are making me mad today. We need somebody now who want to compete. I don't know.
I expect noise at the trade deadline for the Sixers.
Okay, what's the name you want? Zach LaVine? Because I like Zach LaVine right now.
I'll give you three. And two of them, I said, all three of them actually were on my list before the season. LaVine was my favorite going into the year. Buddy Hield was my easily number two. And then the long stretch was Bradley Beal. Those are my three guys. I don't want to get rid of Ben Simmons. He is the glue of this team. For at least two of those guys, you will not have to get rid of Ben. But Tobias, possibly Shake, Matisse, possibly. The best chance to win a finals, you have to find a way to get Bradley Beal without giving up Ben Simmons. Washington's going to have to self-destruct at some point this season. Maybe they'll trade Russ to Brooklyn. Who knows? Reunite the big three. But those are the three names right now that I'm thinking of. You already have two great shooters. Danny Green, don't – I mean, he's had 136 hours. I'm telling you right now. He goes over 10. Has some comments off the floor and then drops 27 last night. He's a flashy player. You're going to get that in Danny Green. If you can move him before the deadline as part of one of those deals, I'd be happy. When Seth Curry comes back, there's not going to be many offensive issues for this team. Best defense in the league. You did not get James Harden. You need to prove that you can win now with Ben Simmons here. You're going to need to make a move at the deadline or still one piece away, especially with how Brooklyn has gotten.
First of all, it's like, Danny Green, watch your mouth. Don't talk to no paid customers like that. Don't do that, all right? That's bad for the league, especially with everything going on. All right, Zach, I don't know if you heard the words, but Zach, we don't need that right now, especially in a time like this. Watch your mouth, Danny Green. Second off, Danny Green, he was right. You go 0 for 10 and you come out and what was it, Zach, 9 or something?
He had 27. Yes, we had 9. I think all from three.
And then you hit backboard. Okay. I mean, like, watch your mouth, Danny Green. But Zach,
I mean, look, we know what we got in Danny Green. A handsy defender that's a flashy shooter.
That's fair. But Zach, let me give you my quick three, and then I'll speak on it a little bit more tomorrow. Buddy Hield as a clear two. You're right. We both had Zach LaVine. All right. I was in favor of Victor Oladipo being the third guy. Obviously, that's not happening now. Bradley Beal, that's going to be too much, but you might have to. So I guess we're on the same page with that.
It's going to be something we figure out. I'll tell you that right now. They're struggling. And they could use a good defense. He could use a good defensive team. He wants one. He said he couldn't even guard a parked car, but I thought it's pretty funny. I think Ben Simmons would fix that problem for you. Look, Tobias Harris might be on the move as much as I like him right now. And he's out right now. The trade deadline is still, you have at least 20 or so games, 15 maybe. I don't know when the deadline is exactly. You have time to figure out if this team will mesh or not. They are 7-0 with their starting lineup. So I'm going to leave it at that. That's my closing statement.
My closing statement is that Brooklyn got better. The Knicks are laughing stock of New York. Zach, they don't matter anymore. I don't know why I'm clowning them. But the Sixers, 7-2 look nice. Or what is it, 8-3 now? 9? I don't know.
8-3, 8-4.
8-3, 8-4. I don't count the losses because we're shorthanded. But Zach, you need somebody. I thought you were going to be able to do it without somebody, but they just got another all-star.
It's not that this team's not good. It's just that the East is more competitive.
The East got stronger now, and I don't see James Harden. Oh boy, I don't even want to. Zach, I have a headache. I don't even want to think about what they're going to do to the Sixers now. I don't even want to.
Run the 2-4 formation. We'll see. Finally, Gavin, I know you have one more thing, but 2-1 Flyers, end of the first period. Strong start for them after giving up an early first goal. Obviously, we'll be covering it next week. We'll bring our good friend Chris on at some point. I'm sure Matt will come on as well at some point as well. Big Flyers fan. Yeah, Stanley Cup or bust. I wouldn't say that, but that's where they're striving for. Gavin, anything else you want to say before we wrap up today's show?
No, everybody. And Zach, you talk about the parked car. I think I'm allowed to say this. Zach, Bradley Beal said he couldn't guard a parked car. Ben Simmons could fix that for you. Heck, he probably could have guarded the Capitol building a little bit better than whatever else did.
We're a week later, but we'll take it on the light side. Ben Simmons. Bottom line is Ben Simmons is a good defender. Just keep it at that, everybody. We don't got to take it any further than that.
Okay, listen, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when we do a later show. I'm more of a comedian than a sports analyst.
Join us for the late night comedy show. In all seriousness, everybody, thank you for joining us today. Make sure to unite through sports. Inaugurations in a week. I know this country is very divided right now. We'll continue having the conversations and talking about it because this country is almost right down the middle. I'll be honest with you. But we got to all unite together and stay strong and know our core values. Don't let my final word is don't let any presidential candidate, don't let your vote, don't let anything disrupt your core values of who you are, because that's what matters at the end of the day. And of course, finally, unite through sports. Gavin.
And my last thing, Zach, is yes, ladies and gentlemen, I made a little capital joke. I'm just trying to lighten the humor, Zach. It was a big day in Washington today. We know everything's going on in the world. I'm just trying to have some fun, Zach. Keep it normal, business as usual. Unite through sports, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you again, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a good night, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post